If there's one thing the Genshin Impact community is fantastic at, it is coming up with some seriously hot takes. Now listen, just to preface this video, every take is valid. Your opinions are valid. I have hot takes myself. So I asked 155,000 people on Twitter about their Genshin Impact hot takes. I'll start, of course. My personal hot take, which apparently is not such a hot take anymore, is that C6 Bennett isn't as bad as so many people make him out to be. It actually opens up a lot of fun team compositions that you wouldn't usually think of. To my surprise, a lot of people actually agreed with me, which is a shock.
Wait, Bran, what are you playing?
Oh, I'm playing Clash of Clans. Thank you to Clash of Clans for sponsoring this video. Clash of Clans is set in a high fantasy themed persistent world where the player is a chief of a village. It tasks players to build their own village using the resources gained from attacking other players' villages with troops. You can earn rewards buying them with medals or by producing them at your own village too. There's single player raids and a lot of engaging action with clan formation and combat. The game starts off easy and gets gradually more difficult the more you play, but don't worry, the tutorial's pretty extensive and it goes into a lot of detail. It starts off teaching you the basics, and you learn more the further on you get. I set my name to BranOnline, so please don't invade my base. Check out the game for free by clicking the link in the description. But now let's get on to some of your hot takes. Mitoon said people like Zhao too much, and it scares me. So I said lament. I understand where it's coming from though. This is the same for a lot of different characters. Some people do like a character a lot, and they'll go as far as to like absolutely dumpstering on people who just don't share the same opinion. But again, every opinion's valid. No matter how much you like a character, doesn't give you the right to be rude to somebody else who doesn't like the character. Another hot take, Dainsleif dying would make for a great story turn. The Abyss Twin killing him would be even more thrilling. What is wrong with you? Every take is valid. Your opinions are valid. I get chills just imagining a scene where the Abyss Twin stares Dane in the eyes while he slowly fades into nothing. A little dramatic? Yes, very dramatic. I get it though. It would make for a great story turn if it was done well. I say this about most character deaths. As long as it's done well, I think a lot could be very impactful. Every character can be god tier. It just takes time and patience. Just remember to have fun. You'll get there. Trust me. I hit 60k with Lisa. I think that's a base take. I don't think it's a hot take per se. I think a lot of people just don't believe that they can get the characters that they love to do an absolute boatload of damage, which in some cases is true. Not every character is created for that purpose, right? But like OP said, with enough time and patience and luck, you can get pretty much any character to be an absolute powerhouse. Silent said, I hate Amy and absolutely refuse to touch her. She stays at level 20. I said, what did Amy do to you, dude? Like, come on, Amy ain't done nothing wrong. Poor Fischl. This one was actually a really hot take. I didn't realize just how many people in the Genshin community despise Fischl. Epi said, I thought they made Raiden's redemption arc really scuffed, but somehow Scarra's is even worse. Oh god, this really is hot takes. Oh god. Yeah, a lot of people thought Raiden's was very rushed. I kind of agree, but I think her second story quest made up for it. Scarra's, I don't even know what happened. I don't think it's as bad as I first did. Still don't like the trope of like the memory wipe stuff, but that's just me. I don't really think it was that much of a redemption, to be honest, which I'm kind of happy about. I don't think every single character needs to be fully redeemed. It was more so him coming to terms with what he's done and knowing how to deal with it going forward, which I actually kind of liked in the end. It took me a while to get there, but I did like it in the end. Nano said the game doesn't revolve around 36-star Abyss and characters aren't trash just because they don't work on the Abyss. This is a very interesting one because I don't think there's a character in the game that doesn't work for the Abyss. I think you can build pretty much any character to work in the Abyss. I mean, we've seen people do it with the standard starter teams, and it's impressive as hell. I do agree with the fact that the game doesn't revolve around 36-star Abyss, but it is also a gacha game and there is an endgame element there, so I don't want new characters that are coming out to be severely underpowered and feel not as good as existing characters, you know? I don't necessarily want a huge power creep either. It's a very fine balance, I feel, that Hoyoverse have got to teeter on, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. I don't know. Butterbean said, Xinyan is a fun unit. People worry too much about her shield when you can focus on her DPS potential instead. I have no clue. I've never used Xinyan. I've never been that interested in using Xinyan. That might be true. Mani said, so many people think Nahida is cute and adorable. She is. The best Archon in terms of ruling. but I personally do not like her and feel she is super manipulative. At least those were my vibes from the Wanderer story quest and when we had to gaslight the researcher for help. Oh, that's an interesting one. I mean, hey, like I say, every opinion's valid. I think Nahida's very blunt, but I also think pretty much every Archon that we've come across has been extremely manipulative, and I don't think Nahida's the worst in terms of that, to be honest, but that's just me. I think she's given us the most substantial information so far and tried to help us the most. Dioxide said, Genshin leaks are easily overcome if they simply made a public beta server, at least for the characters. This way, upcoming characters have a bigger and better approach as they can get a better sample of feedback from the community for adjustments. I have no idea about that. I hate leaks with my whole being, but I don't know about making a public beta server for characters. If that'd be a way to overcome leaks, I think people would just find other things to leak. Maybe that would help. I don't know enough about the beta system. Griffith said Pyro and Pyro characters used to be the greatest. Now they're mid. Hydro is the best element in the game. Freeze, Electrocharge, Vaporize, Bloom, Hyper Bloom, and Burgeon. I think best, worst, mid is all subjective, right? Because if you're talking about pure damage, then sure, Hyper Bloom is absolutely cracked at the minute. But Melt is also still absolutely incredible. You can't really have one without the other, right? You can't have Freeze without Cryo. You can't have Electrocharge without Electro. You can't have any of the Bloom reactions without Dendro. So best is very subjective. Entity said Ayato's quest is absolutely fire. Sure, it's not 10 out of 10, but I heckin' love the fact that we get to touch on the very intriguing politics of Inazuma. People don't like it for the same reason that I like it, which is good in my opinion. Not every quest can be universally interesting. Yes, I honestly agree with that. It's the same reason like I am not a huge fan of Nilu's quest, just because it doesn't really delve into her character too much as it does other characters. And I have a pretty solid stance on this. Like, I think character story quests that you unlock with a key for that character should be more about that character than anything else and give you a bit of insight that you didn't already know about that character, right? And I think the quests that are more resolved around NPCs, even if they include playable characters, should be world quests. I thought Ayato's quest was really good as well. Toku said Chasm Archon quest with Yanfei and the others is the most enjoyable Archon quest so far. As for region, I like the Liyue one. I don't know if that's such a hot take. I think that Archon quest was absolutely phenomenal. I thought it was great. Brax said Genshin Impact actually has a ton of content in it. It's just not content you want to do right now. It's like how the fridge is empty and there's nothing to eat. And then post that picture. Yeah, I agree. I think Genshin always has an absolute boatload of things to do, whether it's exploring, searching for lore, mini games, Spiral Abyss, building characters. In my eyes, a lot of people want the game to be more of a RPG than a gacha, and I think it does a good job of balancing both elements. But yeah, I mean, it's not a game that you can play for 6 hours every single day and always have something to do. It's just not. If you've 100%ed every region, completed all the quests, and built the characters that you have, there's always the resin system that still kind of holds you back, which is fine in my opinion. It is a gacha game, but yeah, I do pretty much agree with what Brax says here. Bob said, probably mentioned before, but the character of Raiden Shogun was so much more appealing before the concept of the puppet, or A, being different entities was introduced. I like the concept of an Archon that is actually a threat, but nah, make her a cute Uru girl for the Kumas. Yeah, a lot of people actually said this in this reply section too. A lot of people like the idea of the Archon being this menacing figure that actually poses a threat to the nation, rather than being this Archon that rules and keeps order, I guess. I guess she does, but in her own way. Which I can understand. Again, I don't think every character needs to be, like, morality lined with good or evil. Some can be in the gray area, and they already are, right? Like Wanderer, for example. And probably like Raiden. Again, it's all subjective, but is that a hot take, or do you agree? Adela said, I hate Bennett. His gameplay is absolutely terrible. Elemental skill, totally useless. Elemental burst, compared to other healers, weak AF. This might be the hottest take I've seen yet, at least in my opinion. To say his gameplay is terrible is one thing, because that's purely opinion based. And you know what? I don't like the fact that until Dendro, he was used in pretty much every single team. But to say that his burst is weak AF compared to other healers, I think that's just factually wrong, right? I don't know. Wishy said the Vortex Vanquisher is actually a really good weapon for Zhongli, plus the drip is real good. I think it scales on attack percent, right? So, I mean, it'd be decent for like a hybrid Zhongli, but yeah, the drip is hella good. The Liyue Archon quest was a bunch of glorified fetch quests, only the last part of it not feeling that way with Child's Fight and facing off with Osahil. Could definitely be recency bias since the Sumeru Archon quest popped the beep off, but most of it just hardly seems memorable. I think for Liyue, I don't know if I'd say glorified fetch quests. I do remember a lot of it. I think it was a lot of world building. I didn't really mind it too much because it was done in a very cool way. And the payoff of the Liyue Archon quest was insane for me. I thought it was great. It was honestly one of my favorite Archon quests purely based on the ending. Faruzan Daily said, if you run a daily account for these characters, then look away. Diana and Fischl really aren't that great. I don't know if they mean in terms of playstyle or characters in general, but be careful. This is Twitter. There's a lot of Amy slander in this list, dude. Oh my god, people hate Amy. Cassandra said Diana should be fired and it reflects extremely badly on the cat's tail that she is. And I mean, listen, not necessarily false, right? She works at a bar but doesn't like serving alcohol. I don't know if she should be fired. I can't. I think people overreact a little when it comes to weapon banners. If you're okay with getting either weapon, it really isn't Devil Incarnate, and a lot of people act as if it is. I agree. A lot of people place really bad vibes around the weapon banner, and I understand it, right? It's a 33, 33, 33 that you've got to win, or a 37, 37, 25, whatever the hell it is. It's harder to get a weapon guaranteed than it is to get a character guaranteed, but even if you're free to play and you have a solid roster of characters that you really enjoy already, sometimes you're looking for something extra, and that might not be a character. You might be looking for some weapons, whether 4-star or 5-star, to give your account the extra oomph. And weapons can go a long way depending on what it is. Staff of Homer, for example, absolutely busted on so many different characters. So yeah, I actually agree with that take. Lore in limited time events isn't necessarily bad. Oh god. Where is this going? There's definitely some, like Unreconciled Stars, that need to have permanent quests, but there's already an overwhelming amount of questing in Genshin, especially for new players. A several-hour quest every patch isn't needed. I think this is the same as me just saying combat events not happening all the time isn't necessarily bad. There's definitely some that make great permanent endgame modes, but there's already an overwhelming amount of combat in the game. New combat events every patch aren't needed, right? It's a similar thing, and not everybody has to enjoy the story, but there are a lot of lore lovers in this game, myself included, that absolutely love to follow the lore. And if it's locked behind limited events that you can never experience, it's kind of fucking shit. So I disagree personally. I do think lore in limited time events is bad if it's like game-changing lore or lore that is not existing after the event itself. I'd rather it be in the game permanently. But that's just my opinion. Asfi said, husbandos over waifus. I swear, I would take Alhaitham or any husbando over Raiden. I will die on this hill, on God. Fair. Adri said physical is not useless, it just lacks options and diversity. Oh my god, so true. Electro was in a similar spot last year, and look at it now thanks to both diversity and the addition of Dendro. PS, yes, I main Eula. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think physical is still incredibly good in Genshin. It just gets real old to play real quick because there's not much you can really do with it to make it more fun. Same as Geo. Phantom said Sucrose's whole shy thing really pisses me off sometimes, and I don't know why. It's just like pent up anger, dude. I don't know why. Primo gems are overrated. Resin is honestly a much more precious resource. I completely agree with that, and I've been saying it since pretty much day one. I want to be able to play the game for longer. Raiden is easily top 5 least interesting characters in the game. Wow, a lot of Raiden slander in this. Oof. People go overboard with the hate and downplay Paimon's importance because they dislike her voice and it's just become a popular thing to do. Yeah, I mean, I've seen that definitely in a lot of different cases. Me personally, I'll give you my experience with my feelings regarding Paimon, I guess. I started the game and thought Paimon was fucking adorable. I thought she was great. The more I've played the game, I've pretty much settled on the feeling that Paimon is great. Paimon's fine, but the way that she repeats everything over and over again as if we are 3 years old and haven't heard it already gets old really, really, really quick. Like, I've just read something 3 times and then she repeats it again twice within like 10 minutes. I don't know, it just gets old. But I think that's more of a direction thing rather than the character herself. Razor said, let people be in charge of their own account however they want. Some of us only play for the thrill of it. Not everything has to be lore-wise in accordance to the actual GPX. I don't know what that means. Character stats, exploration percent, artifact sets, team coach. You don't get to tell me what to do on my account, LMFAO. That sounded personal, but yeah, no, I agree. Nobody should be able to tell you how to play on your own account. It's your game. You play it however the fuck you want. I want to find some that have a lot of comments because that usually means people disagree. When it comes to gacha, Genshin is usually pretty generous in comparison to other games. From what I've seen, they're really not, but at the same time, they offer a lot more than other games do in terms of content, so I don't know. Yeah, a lot of these are just about Raiden. I didn't expect so many to be about Raiden, oh my god. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Let me know your hottest Genshin take down in the comments and leave your UID in the comment. The most liked comment by the end of like 24 hours, I will send a welcome to, as a thanks for watching this far. If you like this kind of video, I've done 2 of them now. Let me know as well down in the comments. I'm happy to ask the wider audience of Genshin some fun questions and then share it with the community, because I think it's a fun idea to do and it lets me just sit down with you guys and talk to you and have a good time. So let me know.